Should you worry about your looks when you're dating as a sixth sensory? And I've broken this down into 5 points. The first point is that no one is exempt to worrying about their looks, including the most attractive people on the planet. And in fact, the most attractive people on the planet are probably also the most insecure. Why? Because they're always around other attractive people and they're always competing to be the most attractive. So the people that you see on Instagram who are posting pictures of them at the beach also have concerns about not being good enough. Even though they've put themselves out there on social media and they've had the bravery to go in front of the camera, they still struggle with their looks every day. So it's important to realize that if you're not 100% confident or 100% secure in your looks, join the club. Everybody is insecure about their looks to some extent. All you can really do is find a way to make peace with that. And this is true of both men and women too. A lot of men are really insecure to show up on social media and show their face or show their body because they're concerned about how they'll be perceived, of whether or not they're attractive. So if you're worried about your looks, you're a part of humanity. Everyone is worried about their looks. And if you're not worried, you might just be very well adjusted, which brings me to point number 2. Surround yourself with people who make you feel good about your looks. And that can be people who are fit and who you're aspiring to be like, if you see that in a positive way. If you're not seeing it in such a positive way and people who are fit and slim are making you insecure, then maybe you should spend more time around people who aren't going to the gym as much. Maybe you should be going to book clubs or computer programming courses or places where people appear a little bit more ordinary and it's not that big a deal whether or not you have a six-pack. Wherever it is you decide to go, if you are surrounded by people who are fit and that inspires you, that motivates you to become more fit, then that's fantastic. For me, in person, I like to be around people like that. I like to be around people who are aspiring to be fit, aspiring to be stronger and learn new things. And I take up hobbies like aerial silks or yoga where you're learning the next move. It's not always about sculpting the perfect arms or the perfect six-pack, but you're learning and you're motivated to get to the next pose. And that is more interesting to me, that is more practical, and I'm attracted to men who are interested in that kind of thing too. I don't necessarily need a big muscle-bound man who goes to the gym, but I am intrigued by men who are curious and engaged and want to learn the next fitness move and want to improve themselves. That is like the right balance where they're exercising and they're taking good care of themselves, but they're not totally self-obsessed with their fitness and trying to look a certain way as a man. Because we all know that the men who spend that much time on their looks in the gym have invested a great deal of their life into that. And what is the purpose of that? It's like really, who knows, but it may not be for the most noble intention. And then my third point about looks is that you want to both show up natural and as your best self. What does that mean? That means when you're committed to showing up on camera on a regular basis, there are going to be days where you wear more makeup. There are going to be days when you have, if you're a woman, your hair down. If you have long hair, there are going to be days where you have glasses, or maybe you don't have your glasses on and you have beautiful eye makeup. However you appear, you need to be comfortable with how you appear. And one of the people I studied from said, always look your absolute best in front of the camera. Like always have your full makeup, your hair down and everything blown out, you know, like you've just come fresh from the beauty salon. And the thing about that is if you're constantly needing to be perfect, it's going to be very hard for you to go on camera consistently. There are going to be days that are a little bit different for you, that you want to appear more natural. Maybe you don't even want to wear makeup that day. And I think it's okay to have those natural days as long as you're leaning into looking your best and at the same time staying committed to your audience and you're being real. And I have this attitude about plastic surgery as well. Is it worth getting plastic surgery? I don't know. Like if it's really important to you, I would go for it. But on the other hand, plastic surgery can become addictive, and we all don't need to become like Michael Jackson, who's changing his race throughout his life. That might be a little much. People do get intrigued by that, but it's a little unnecessary when you're trying to teach people practical skills. You don't have to look like Michael Jackson. We are here to help people. My fourth tip about looks is consider who you follow on Instagram. I live in a very attractive looking city, actually. So even local people that I know sometimes on Instagram are really going hard on the bikini shots and looking sexy on Instagram, and their following is basically purely that. And I'm not jealous of them. If they want to do that, I support them. Having said that, if those kinds of influences are getting you down, even if you know the person, it's okay to mute a person. It's kind of similar to if they're talking politics all the time and it's getting a little excessive and negative, it's okay to stop looking at their posts. It's okay to mute them or stop following them because it's affecting your consciousness, it's affecting your inner peace. And if something is affecting you that much, it's okay to block people out who are affecting you negatively. Now, having said that, if you're at peace and you're balanced seeing attractive people on your feed and you don't really care what they're doing, you can leave them on there. Like for this one person I know locally, actually several I know locally, they like to regularly post photos of themselves with less clothing on, they're dancing in heels, and it's about women's empowerment for them, that a woman can dress the way she wants and it shouldn't matter. And for me, I support that. I personally am not engaging in it at this point in my life because I feel that there are other more important things that I want to be engaged in on my social media to me. Having said that, if women want to show themselves off like that, that's their choice. Sometimes you attract the wrong kind of person when you do, but having said that, again, that's your responsibility, and if you can handle it and still be discerning and find good people, then all the power to you. My final tip, and this is related a little bit to the last tip, is don't be jealous and don't compete with other people who you perceive as more attractive than you. We are all unique like flowers in a garden, and if one person is physically more beautiful than you are, then you may have something else that's unique to offer. Think about the attractive person who jumps up and down for the attention of someone else. Even though they're physically attractive, they're psychologically not as attractive as you would think. And even if you look a little bit more plain, if you're a little bit smarter than that and you stay in your own lane and you're focused on your own priorities, you'd be surprised by how many men would come back around and be interested in you. And it's the same thing if you're a gentleman and you're attracting the ladies. Like if there's another gentleman who's kind of behaving like an idiot, although he looks physically attractive, pretty soon the women are going to see through that, and the smart woman will be more intrigued by the man who's smarter or maybe more well-to-do. In fact, attractiveness is not normally women's number one criteria at all, although they notice. It's more important to a gentleman. But even in the case when you're a lady, it's not always the most important leading quality to have. There are other important qualities that if a gentleman is intelligent, he will look for those.